Welcome back to the Last Wrestling Podcast, because if I have a wrestling podcast, I occasionally get to talk about a wrestling show that I saw live. Yeah, some people have actually already seen that rather sad little 3-minute video that I put up yesterday with some very, very basic, immediate gut reaction thoughts to Best of the Super Juniors Final 26. Best of the Super Juniors 26 Final, I think that's how it's done. It's 24 hours later, and almost to the minute, actually, as I'm recording this. And I've decided that I want to give a few more details, because I actually took notes on my phone throughout the show, and of course, if I'm filming on the phone, I can't actually see the notes, because I'm kind of dumb and didn't think that through. First of all, let's talk about the most important thing. How much money did they make on this? Um, this was not a sellout, I'm sorry to say. The venue was about 80% full. A lot of the sumo-style box seats. You may know these from current events because these are the things Donald Trump refused to sit in, or they realized he couldn't sit in, which, to be fair, I'm overweight and have a bad back, so I'll give you that, Orange Mussolini. But a lot of the first tier, essentially, a lot of the box seats were not sold. The upper deck, which is Western-style chairs, sold out. Maybe one or two empty seats, but mostly sold out. And of course, the ringside area was quite full, as I'm sure you saw on television. Second, and I mentioned this in the video I did last night, LIJ, Los Ingobernables de Japón. 80% of the merchandise plus that I saw people wearing, especially when they came into the building, was LIJ. 80% was LIJ, about another 10%, well, either LIJ the unit or LIJ the wrestlers. A lot of Shingo Takagi, Takagi Shingo, I should say, shirts. A lot of Dragon, Last of the Dragon, that sort of thing. Quite a few Naito shirts, quite a few Bushi shirts. Bushi is a merchandise powerhouse. I saw so many people wearing his mask, including a few little kids. So he is a big deal. But between the individuals and the group logos, it was a lot of LIJ. The other 20% was mostly Bullet Club stuff and generic wrestling merchandise, like my Lion Mark shirt that I was wearing. One thing I did notice as we got into the building was the number of Mox or Moxley shirts shot up. They were selling these. If you have Sumo Hall, you go through the main entrance and you've got tables on either side of merchandise before you go straight down to the entrance to the actual arena. And they were selling Moxley shirts. There was one side, about 25% of the total merchandise was LIJ stuff, a bunch of Moxley stuff, a bunch of Bullet Club stuff, and then sort of miscellaneous New Japan merchandise, and a good emphasis on the wrestlers that have been in the tournament. So a lot of Dragon Lee stuff, a lot of Teton, some Bandito. Oh, by the way, I collect wrestling masks, and I kind of wanted a Bandito mask because it's a unique design, and the more I see a Bandito, at least throughout this tournament, the more I like him. I did actually watch the tournament itself going into this. I'm not going to do a long review on that because it gets kind of repetitive because it's a round-robin tournament. I wanted a Bandito mask. $350! Sanman Gosenen, 35,000 yen for a Bandito mask. Now, granted, they only had about 3 of them, and I'm guessing this is stuff that he brought over in his own luggage, but no! Bandito, you're good. You have the potential to be great. You're not $350 great. The ticket was $50. I'm willing to spend for a Liger mask, which is what I did, but no. I mean, he's a 30-year legend. You're a guest. And, Omotenashi notwithstanding, no. Okay, also, the arena was very well lit. This is a small detail that I don't think you'd notice if you weren't in the building, but even from literally one of the worst seats in the house, you saw on that 3-minute video that the wall of the arena was right behind me. I was in the very back row, and I could see what was going on clearly, except for one thing that I'll talk about when I get to it. So that was sort of the atmosphere in the building. LIJ over huge. Not a full sellout, but a good attendance. I'm pretty sure they made their money on this, depending on how much they're paying Moxley. And good technical work with the lighting and the audio and everything else. Now, we're going to go through this in reverse order, meaning we're starting with the main event, and then we're going to work backwards. I will go over my notes, and then give some, basically what do I remember about this match. As you can probably tell by now, I am not working off of a script, and I want to get this up on YouTube as fast as humanly possible, so it's not going to be particularly well edited. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there in a more complete form than I was allowed to do last night. Because as you heard, they had the nice lady who was telling me, okay, time to get out of the building now. Starting with the final match of the evening, and that is Ospreay Takagi for the BOSJ finals. And my only note on the match is best match ever. That was the best match I've ever seen live in my life, and I think it's going to take something very special to top it. This was a match where I was able to actually lose myself in it, where I was able to just... My heartbeat was going up and down based on every near fall. I was just screaming at the end of it, Last of the Dragon, he's got to get him up, Last of the Dragon. If he doesn't get him over his shoulders, he's not going to hit it, he needs Last of the Dragon. It's got to be the Stormbreaker. If he's going to win this, he's tried everything else, it's got to be the Stormbreaker. Can he hit he can't do it on Takagi, he's too damn big. That was me. It was probably annoying the guys next to me, who actually were pretty cool. A lot of Japanese wrestling fans do actually speak a little bit of English, but yeah, that was, I really got into that. The crowd was 100% behind Takagi. Ospreay would get cheers. He would get an all super, whenever he did something cool. But during the downbeats, the crowd was firmly Takagi the whole time. And then the promo afterward, where basically Ospreay announced that he's moving to Japan full time. He is actually immigrating to Japan. Now, I could give a whole different video on some of the details on that. If New Japan has apparently managed to get him a proper work visa, I think I know the type of visa he could get, and it's not an easy one to get, but essentially he'd be in on an entertainment visa, and those are good. I'm here on an instructor's visa because I'm an English teacher, and those you have to renew every couple of years, and it's a big hassle, and you're very limited in the type of jobs you can take. But if he wants to actually take the plunge and move here, more power to him. If I ever run into him down at the Lawson, I'll let you know. Okay, next match, the semifinal. This is Juice Robinson versus Jon Moxley for the U.S. title. Wow. This was a match... I do not like hardcore wrestling. I have never seen a CZW show. I find even Lucha Underground gets to the point of, I kind of don't want to watch this right now at times, and this match didn't get there. The one thing I will notice was quite a few people in the crowd were chanting, Ambrose! Ambrose! And I was actually one of the guys, and I wasn't the only one, but there were people who would have, Moxley! Ambrose janakte Moxley! He's not Ambrose anymore, he's Moxley. And, okay, was the general reaction to that. This was, again, a pro-Moxley crowd, even though Robinson is the local guy. But they all realized Moxley, I'm doing it now. They all realized that Moxley's the star. There were some moments in there. They did space out their... 3 compliments I'll give the match. 1, they did space out their stupid spots so that it wasn't overdrawn. 2, I love the little details in Jon Moxley. He is in character the whole time. Guys like, and I include Juice Robinson, but a lot of guys, um, they've got their persona, they've got their character, and then as soon as the match starts, that all goes away. And it's what I've heard Stone Cold Steve Austin on his podcast refer to as the Gaga, or JR would call the sizzle on the steak, the little details, the movement, the motions in between the moves. Because so many people these days focus on, does the move look cool? They don't focus on who is delivering that move or who's taking that move. Ambrose has great Gaga by that standard. You could tell that he was this slightly unhinged brawler the whole time. There's a chain of Gaijin bars called the Hub that sort of model themselves after a British pub, and it's kind of the only place in this country to get a Guinness. But they advertise themselves as, hey, if you want to come meet foreigners, this is the place to do it. And I've seen some people in Gaijin bars who would like to kind of bust up the Gaijin bars, and I could totally see Jon Moxley in that role. So he looked fantastic. Some of the negatives. Oh my god, that chair shot in the corner where Robinson basically picks the chair up and hurls it at the head of Moxley. Ugh. That's scary. Also, Robinson needs to figure out that, saying, I am now going to hit the cannonball is a good way to get your opponent to move. Good choice for Moxley here, because now that he's got the U.S. title is probably going to go away for a while, and New Japan has a too many belts problem, so this deals with that quite nicely. Well done. Third match, Tanahashi White. 100% Tanahashi. In fact, this was the first match of the night, and we're into the last three matches now. The first match of the night where we had someone who was not only playing heel, but was perceived as a heel. Jay White, by New Japan standards, which I hate to say are pretty low in this degree, or on this rubric, in this metric, Jay White is a fantastic, pure heel, and he knows how to wrestle a slow match. And again, this is something I mentioned in my initial comments last night. There was some smoke and mirrors here. Tanahashi is slowing down. He's not the high-flying ace anymore, and he is a perfect matchup with Jay White, because Jay White knows how to do that slow, deliberate, stalling, plodding, make you hate him for being, sort of this combination of The Miz, Triple H, and Larry Zbyszko, which is this weird combination. But it worked. It worked fantastically. Tanahashi was, over like the space shuttle. And this was, like I said, the first match that really had a great face-heel dynamic. Coming up next, we have Okada Kazuchika and Rocky Romero versus Marty Scurll and Brody King. Brody King, even though he was the one who actually took the fall after the Rainmaker, impressed the living hell out of me. My first honest-to-God jaw-drop moment of the night was when basically he did the sort of springboard backflip, greatly assisted, off of the ropes. There's a market in Japan for the big tattooed-up gaijin, and tattoos are still a very big social no-no in Japan because they're connected to the Yakuza. And they believe that if you have tattoos, you are criminal. That's why basically every job you will ever get in Japan, they will tell you if you have tattoos, they better be covered by business wear or you're not getting a job. If you have any visible tattoos outside of your suit, you're never working in this country. And I know people who have sleeve tattoos that have to keep long sleeves even in the hot and humidity of the summer because it's that or be fired. So Brody King, while he doesn't really look like much to an American viewer who are used to wrestlers who are tattooed from here to next Thursday, He has that freak show quality. No other nice way to say it. No nice way to say it, because that isn't a nice way. No nice way to say it. He's got that freak show quality that could essentially make him the new Michael Elgin. He could play that role, only I think possibly much better. And the fact that he is connected to Marty Scurll, who is over, this is good. My other notes here. Okada is a star. Rocky is Robin to Okada's Batman. And it appears that Brody King has never seen a single Okada match in his life. There was a sequence early at the very beginning of the match. Okada does this every single match, where he pushes the guy into the corner, or pushes the guy up against the ropes, and makes like he's going to hit him, and then just very lightly taps him on the chest. You know, the sort of too cool for school type of thing. And Brody King, have I said Brody Lee yet? Luke Harper? No, okay. Brody King covers up and screams from that because he's never seen an Okada match. Okada does this every damn match. Why do people fall for it? We then had the Lights Out promo with Y2J. And I will say, in New Japan, this is a criticism of WWE a lot of times. Whenever they go to commercial, the wrestlers are basically standing in the ring with their thumbs up their asses for 5 minutes. And that doesn't happen in New Japan. When you were seeing the video on the screen, that was exactly what was on the big screens in the arena. And the lights were out otherwise. So you were seeing what we were seeing. No surprise here. As soon as the lights went out, everybody was saying, Jericho? Jericho desu ka? Jericho ika? And yeah. So we knew this was the match that was happening. No physical appearance from Jericho may have disappointed a couple of people, but this didn't really push anything. We all knew this match was going to happen. This was the title match for Dominion, and yeah, Rainmaker versus Painmaker. And Okada coming back with, essentially translating into English. I don't know if they did this in the New Japan version, but the New Japan World version. But what the hell is a Painmaker? We don't need a Painmaker in New Japan. And I think that's Jericho's new gimmick, is that he tries to be the twisted mirrorverse version of whoever his opponent is. He does, it was Alpha versus Omega, now it's Rainmaker versus Painmaker, and they're doing this thing where the New Japan guy always gets a chance to respond and, get one up on Jericho on the mic. Remember when Naito did the thing with, "You're telling me the global superstar still has to record promos on his phone?" That sort of thing. Speaking of Naito, 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 Naito. Next match is Ibushi Makabe, Thaddeus Q Dumbfuck, and Toa Hinare versus Tetsuya Naito, Evil, Sanada, Bushi in the 8-man tag. And okay, I was gonna watch Dominion anyway, but I'm definitely watching it for Ibushi and Naito. Naito is the #1 star in New Japan. I love Okada. He was getting cheered heavily. I like Tanahashi. He was getting cheered heavily. Ospreay's over. But Takagi is over huge. But Naito is the #1 wrestler in New Japan. One of the things I noticed is that the chants in New Japan tend to die out after about the 5th or 6th repetition. So you'll get Okada, 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 over. Naito went on for about 20 or 30 repetitions, at least in the area I was sitting. I was kind of surprised by this. I think Sonata's hair's taken on a life of its own, but again, this match didn't really push anything aside from the Ibushi and Naito match. We all knew it was going to happen anyway. Again, Bushi is a huge star. I don't think that comes across on the video that often, but he was, after Naito, the #1 merchandise seller. But again, that's part of that whole LIJ conglomerate. Next, we had the 10-man tag. Ishii, Yano, Yoshihashi, Jushin, Sanda, Raiga, Taiga Mask versus Team Psychopath. With, I think, Doki now officially a member of Team Psychopath. This is the first time I wrote here, Liger is an effing star. Yeah, I'm gonna miss him when he's gone. I own the mask now. I'm happy about that. Overpaid for it, but I'm happy. They do seem to be teasing Liger versus Suzuki, so it's possible that's going to be Liger's last match. And it wouldn't surprise me if they made that some kind of a lucha de apuestas, or that might be a match between now and Tokyo Dome. Takashi Ryusuke, Sho and Yo versus Ishimori, El Fantasma, Robbie Eagles. El Fantasma was the most over member of the Bullet Club. That might be the shiny new toy thing, but people were liking him. This was not very good, at least in terms of storytelling, because I couldn't quite tell who the bad guys were supposed to be. Genuinely, yeah, okay, technically it's Bullet Club, but they were acting like confident baby faces for most of the match. They did that stupid calcio super ass, inverted. I call it the inverted Joey Ryan with Taguchi. Now, if you don't know, calcio is a thing in Japanese elementary schools where children will try to stick their fingers up the butts of somebody else, whether that be a fellow student or a teacher. Yes, that is a real thing. If you've ever seen the anime Naruto, they take calcio and they turn it into the 1,000 Years of Pain. That's designed to make Naruto look like he's an immature child because he's doing this kindergarten, elementary school technique. But of course they decided to do the thing but he has buns of steel, he's the funky weapon. And this turned into 3 minutes of bloody comedy. Though I will say, good job on Ishimori for actually managing to kick the rugby ball pretty much up into the second deck. The upper deck. Just gonna go with it. Also, again, El Fantasma with the rope walk. That was brilliant, but nobody in this match was getting booed. And that's a weakness, I think, of New Japan, is that with the exception of Jay White and a couple of other people, they don't have a lot of great heels, especially on the undercard. Speaking of the undercard, the opening match, Dragon Lee, Titan, Shota Umino versus Jonathan Gresham, Bandito, Ren Narita. My notes here were that everybody loves the Luchadors, especially when the Luchadors showed respect to Japan and to New Japan at the end of the match, where they got down on their knees and they kissed the cerulean blue. I expect all three of the Luchadors here, Bandito, Titan, and Dragon Lee, to return. Jonathan Gresham was an afterthought in this match. He had a nice sequence at the beginning, did a shooting star press, and that was basically the last we saw of him. I'm not expecting him back. I'm not impressed by him, frankly. Good idea for a character, just not great execution in this format. He has the potential to be fantastic in the future and in a different context. Nobody played heel. Basically, this was okay for an opening match because New Japan doesn't do dark matches, though maybe they should. People were cheering all the cool moves, and it got the fans into the show. So it did what it did. Had no storyline significance whatsoever. So that's basically it. Overall, a very, very good show. The top 3 matches were brilliant. LIJ is a phenomenon. I'm looking forward to Dominion. There's some good stuff happening. I'm looking forward to all of the title matches. And I guess it turns out that if you really, 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 really want to get the Japanese crowd to cheer you, all you got to do is kiss up to the country. Luchadors kissing the mat, showing respect to Japan. Moxley bowing to the crowd. Yeah, that got him some credibility. And of course, if you really want to get over, move here, because the second Ospreay said, he kind of teased him and said, "I can't go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth anymore." But the minute he said he was moving here, The crowd orgasmed. They erupted. They threw the babies in the air, as Jim Cornette might say. And yeah, it's just like the USA USA chants in America. There's a great deal of nationalism in professional wrestling. Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't think so, but it does. I think so. I think it is a bad thing. But it does go back to the very origin of professional wrestling in Japan. And yeah, they'll be nice to the tourist, but if you prove yourself worthy, uh, you will be welcomed here to a degree, as long as you're a high flying dancing monkey. All right. Well, I need to get this video up before I go to bed, so not going to be any real editing again. I apologize for that, but Best of the Super Juniors, absolutely fantastic show. Highly recommended. If I was doing a full live-ish review, I'd probably give it an A. But I'm biased by the fact I was in the building in that atmosphere. So no official grade for this. The next Last Wrestling podcast will be Dominion from Osaka. No, I'm not going to the show. I don't have the time and I don't have the money. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.